All right, Raider Nation, let's talk seriously for a moment. The question on the table is simple but important. Should the Las Vegas Raiders go out and sign cornerback Shaquille Griffin? Now, I know some fans are going to have mixed feelings about this. You might be asking, why now? Why him? But let me walk you through the full picture here, because when you really break it all down, this move might make more sense than people think. Let's start with what actually happened. Griffin had a visit with the Raiders this past Wednesday. That alone is a big deal because visits don't just happen out of nowhere, especially not during this phase of the offseason. The team brought him in, and that usually means they're at least interested in seeing if he's a fit. You don't fly a guy out, sit down with him, show him the facilities, let him meet the coaches, and then just move on without a reason. It shows intent, even if it's not a guarantee. Now, part of why this visit raised eyebrows has everything to do with Pete Carroll. Yes, I know. Carroll is the new face of this Raiders organization. He's not just here to collect a paycheck. He's here to reshape a culture, to build a team the way he believes wins football games. And Pete Carroll, for years, has been known as a guy who knows how to develop defensive backs. His resume speaks for itself. The Legion of Boom in Seattle didn't happen by accident. It happened because Carroll knew how to identify talent, coach it up, and put guys in a position to win. And guess what? Shaquille Griffin was one of those guys. He got his start in the league with Carroll, and for 4 seasons, he grew under that system. Griffin was drafted back in 2017, 3rd round, pick number 90, and right from the jump, he made an impact in Seattle. As a rookie, he was targeted a lot, which is common for young corners, but he responded. 15 pass breakups in year 1 is no joke. Then in 2019, he hit his stride. No interceptions that year, but if you watched him play, you knew he was locking guys up. That season, he earned a Pro Bowl nod, and yeah, that means something. That wasn't a fluke. It was the result of consistent high-level play against some of the best receivers in the game. Now I get it. That was a few years ago. Since then, Griffin's bounced around a bit. Jacksonville, Houston, Carolina, Minnesota. Not exactly the most stable path, but last season in Minnesota, quietly solid. He wasn't a full-time starter, but he played. In all 17 games, started 3, and made an impact when he was on the field. He was targeted 57 times, allowed 31 completions, which is actually a respectable rate for a rotational corner. He gave up just over 400 yards and had a passer rating against of around 75. Again, we're not talking about a shutdown cornerback in his prime. But we are talking about someone who still knows how to play the position and still has something to offer. And this is where it all starts to connect. Pete Carroll is now here in Vegas. He's laying the foundation of what he wants this team to be. And let's be real. When coaches take over a new team, they like to bring in familiar faces. Guys they know, guys they trust, guys who can help carry the message to the locker room. That's exactly what Griffin can be. He's not just another cornerback. He's someone who's played in Pete Carroll's system, who understands the expectations, who can be that veteran voice for a younger secondary that still has a lot to prove. If you look at the Raiders' current group of cornerbacks, you've got some names to be excited about. Darian Porter's been getting a lot of buzz. Eric Stokes is in the mix. Jacorian Bennett is trying to find consistency. And then there's Cameron Richardson, who has the physical tools, but hasn't really popped yet in camp. There's potential, sure, but it's raw. It's unproven. And in the NFL, you can't just bet on potential. You need guys who can line up on Sundays and hold their own. Adding Griffin into that mix doesn't hurt you. It helps. It creates competition. It forces everyone to level up. And even if Griffin doesn't end up being a starter, his presence in that room, his experience, his understanding of the defense, that all matters. It's the kind of thing that can raise the floor of your entire secondary. Now, let's talk about age, because I know that's always a thing. Griffin is 29 years old, turning 30 in July. Is he a long-term answer? Probably not. But is he washed? Absolutely not. There's still tread on those tires. And when you've got good coaching, which, let's be honest, the Raiders now do on the defensive side with Carroll, Marcus Robertson, and Joe Woods, you can get the most out of players like Griffin. That's what smart teams do. They identify value. They don't chase big names or expensive contracts for the sake of headlines. They find guys who fit the system, who make the roster stronger without breaking the bank. And speaking of the bank, Let's talk cap space. The Raiders aren't hurting. Even after bringing in linebacker Jermaine Pratt, there's still plenty of room to make a move like this. Before signing Pratt, they were sitting on over $36 million. Pratt's deal is a little over $4 million, maybe up to $4.5 million with incentives. That still leaves you with a healthy amount of space to go out and grab a veteran corner if you think he's worth it. And in this case, Griffin's probably going to come cheap. He's not commanding top dollar. You're probably looking at a deal in the $3 to $4 million range, maybe even less. That's manageable, especially when you consider what you're getting: experience, familiarity, and leadership. It also helps that Griffin is known as a great locker room guy. Ask anyone who's played with him. He's respected. He's got a positive energy. He's a competitor. And let's not forget, he's a twin. His brother Shaquille Griffin played linebacker in the NFL, and the two of them coming out of UCF was one of the coolest stories in recent memory. There's just something about players who have overcome obstacles, who've been doubted, who've had to work for everything. Those are the kinds of guys you want in your building, especially when you're trying to establish a new culture. And culture matters. Like, that's one of the biggest reasons why Carroll might be pushing for this signing behind the scenes. He's trying to create a culture in Vegas that mirrors what he had in Seattle. That means toughness, resilience, belief in one another, and yes, having fun while doing it. We've already heard from several Raiders players this offseason saying how different the vibe is now. It's lighter, it's more energetic, practices feel productive, guys are buying in. That doesn't just happen, it's created. And when you bring in players who reflect that culture, like Shaquille Griffin, it reinforces everything the coaches are trying to build. Another thing that's worth mentioning, this wouldn't be a desperate move. This would be a smart move. You're not signing Griffin to be your savior at cornerback. You're signing him to be a part of a deep competitive unit, a piece of the puzzle. Someone who can step in if needed, who can help mentor the young guys, and who already knows the kind of football Pete Carroll wants to play. When you're building a team, those are the kinds of signings that pay off in December and January. And for anyone who's worried about whether Griffin still has it, just go back and watch some of that 2023 tape in Minnesota. No, he wasn't a full-time starter, but when he got snaps, he made them count. He wasn't getting burned. He was playing smart, disciplined football. He tackled well, 41 tackles on the year, and made a couple of key interceptions. He showed he could still cover outside receivers, still move well laterally, and still bring energy to the field. He's not a liability. In fact, he's probably more reliable than some of the young players on this roster who haven't proven anything at the NFL level yet. And honestly, what's the downside? You bring him in. You let him compete. If he doesn't win a role, you move on. But if he does, now you've got a solid, experienced, versatile cornerback who knows the system and can step in when needed. You're not locking yourself into a big contract. You're not limiting your options. You're just adding talent and depth, which is exactly what you want heading into training camp. This team needs more of that. More competition, more depth, more guys who know how to be pros. Because the goal isn't just to make the playoffs. It's to build a team that can sustain success year after year. That takes more than just drafting well or having a few stars. It takes building a complete roster filled with players who can step up when the moment comes. That's what Griffin represents. And finally, let's not overlook how meaningful it can be to reunite with a coach like Carroll. That familiarity can unlock something in a player. You're not just plugging him into a random system. You're putting him back in a defense he understands, with a coach he trusts, and with a clear role that fits his strengths. That can be the difference between a player having an average season or playing at a level that really helps your football team. Before we continue, don't forget to subscribe to our channel and give this video a like. Your support helps us keep bringing you the latest updates on our Las Vegas Raiders. And don't be shy. Drop your thoughts on the news in the comments below. In a stunning turn of events that has sent shockwaves through the NFL, rumors are swirling that TJ Watt, the defensive powerhouse who has been the heart and soul of the Pittsburgh Steelers defense, is set to leave the Steel City and sign a mega contract with the Las Vegas Raiders. While nothing has been officially confirmed, insiders and sources close to the situation hint that the Raiders are pulling out all the stops to land one of the league's most feared pass rushers in recent years. TJ Watt has been synonymous with relentless pressure on quarterbacks and game-changing plays since he entered the league. His presence has transformed the Steelers' defense, making them one of the most formidable units in the NFL. But whispers of contract negotiations and trade talks have intensified recently, with the Raiders emerging as the frontrunners in what could be one of the biggest free agent coups in recent memory. The Raiders, looking to solidify their defense and make a serious playoff push, seem ready to offer Watt a contract that not only makes him one of the highest paid defensive players, but also a cornerstone of their franchise moving forward. This potential deal would mark a significant shift in the NFL landscape, taking a homegrown Steelers star away from the city that has been his professional home since he was drafted. Sources say the mega contract would include a staggering salary and bonuses, reflecting the high value placed on Watt's ability to disrupt offenses and change the course of games with his athleticism and instincts. For the Raiders, landing Watt would be a statement move, signaling their intent to compete at a highest level and attract elite talent. Meanwhile, Steelers fans are reportedly bracing for the possibility of losing one of their most beloved and effective defenders. Watt's departure would leave a considerable void in Pittsburgh's defensive lineup and raise questions about the team's direction and ability to replace such a game-changing talent. While no official announcements have been made, the buzz around Watt's future has become impossible to ignore. Analysts and fans alike are speculating on the ripple effects this potential move could have, not just for the Steelers and Raiders, but for the entire AFC. Could this be the start of a new era for the Raiders and the end of an era in Pittsburgh? Only time will tell, but for now, the NFL world is watching closely as the saga of TJ Watt's next big move unfolds. If the rumors prove true, the Raiders are about to gain a defensive juggernaut, and the Steelers will have to find a way to move on from one of their greatest defensive stars. That's it for this update. If you enjoyed the video and want to stay updated with exclusive news about our Las Vegas Raiders, be sure to subscribe to our channel and hit that like button. We can't wait to hear your thoughts in the comments. See you in the next video.